Any Christian out here, though, will be like, yeah, I'll listen to Chandler, Piper, whoever, Tim Keller, Billy Graham, like, of all ages, like the best preaching in the world of like the most recent modern history. They can get that there.
Yep.
They cannot get the community.
But the community is so
So what's the purpose of church?
This might be one of the most controversial videos and podcasts that we have ever done. And the reason why is it's about tithing and church membership and buy-in. Because on the podcast, you'll see Saran make a incredibly controversial statement. And maybe he doesn't think that it's controversial, but it literally shocked us that we had no words. Me and Scott had no words to say. We were trying to figure out, like, between how do we, I don't know, talk to Saran and how do we manage, like, you as the viewer. Like, this is some pretty personal stuff, and yet anyone can watch it, and kind of, we don't want to paint Saran in a bad light if he's learning, and we don't want to come off too strong. So you'll even see in the podcast that we're like, okay, cut, let's just put this to Patreon behind a paywall. But it ended up being so good, the conversation ended up being so good that I think it'll be edifying for you and for anyone else who's watching it, especially when we're talking about church membership, loneliness, community, tithing. All of these aspects that we struggle with on a daily basis is kind of answered in this podcast, at least in part. So I'm really glad that you're watching this video. Watch till the end, because you could leave your own comments and what you think down in the comment section down below, but this might be one of the greatest podcasts that we have ever shot on the Disciple Standard podcast. Thanks for watching.
The future is now.
Welcome back to the Disciple Standard podcast. My name is Aaron, your anchor man. To my right here, we have the High Reverend Brown, Sultan of Sound. Welcome back to the pod. And of course, we got Mr. Multiply himself, Scott Vanderplug. Welcome back to your own pod. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
We're ready.
This
episode is going to be off the chain.
Good.
I feel so prepared.
Good. You feel prepared?
So prepared.
Good. You know our rules. Our rules are good. Rules
Yep.
are keep it stable. All right.
Number one, bippity boppity.
Okay. Bippity boppity on this podcast
Oh,
right
body.
now. So I don't know if you get the reference. I know you get the reference, but there's a sub-reference. So when I was away on paternity leave, whatever, just had this baby.
Went on maternity.
No, I was on maternity. I consider it. I consider it. Anyway, I was like, okay, my first meeting back, I gotta make an office reference, and I was looking through the different meetings, like the best meetings in the office. And Creed just spoke out to me. So I wrote down Bo Body on the whiteboard. I was like, Bo Body. And during the time when I was doing it, I was like, I'm living out my dream right now. This is great. This is great.
Oh, you did it in the level 10
in the meeting, yeah.
Oh,
in the meeting. Yeah, it was the first thing I did.
And people liked it.
I guess Saran liked it.
I was entertained.
Yeah.
Okay.
I entertain myself. Do you ever make jokes in your sermon just for you?
Of course.
Like no one else gets it, but you get it?
Or I have one or two people who will get it.
Okay, yeah.
Because I have a little wink to people.
Yeah, sure.
There's one that I've been wanting to admit to Ileana for the longest time.
Yeah? Ileana's our singer.
Because Ileana and TJ, when I performed their wedding, I did something for a few of the people who were present, and they didn't even know.
That.
In the sermon for their wedding, I made references that they had zero idea that I was actually making a joke to some of the people individually in the audience, and didn't even know.
Oh. Did you point it out to them?
I've never pointed it out to them.
In someone else's wedding though? That's like
I did.
Isn't like
and what it was someone kind of dared me or betted me that there was no possible way I could make a reference to Garth Brooks in the middle of their wedding. They don't even know. If they watch this podcast, they'll know.
Did they?
Otherwise, they don't even know.
Do you know if they recorded that wedding?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It'd be interesting
There's
if they had the video of the wedding. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I sometimes I plan it. Sometimes I don't. I don't know. Sometimes I just make jokes for myself. Just millennial jokes about 50 cents.
Somebody told me about, well, they were pointing out some joke you made.
Oh yeah.
What was it you said that was?
Slavery.
Oh, you wanted to bring slavery back.
New ministry. That's what he said. Those are the words.
Who said that?
I did.
Oh, no.
I told Scott about it. He was like, "How'd the sermon go?" I was like, "Well, Aaron wants to bring slavery back."
Fortunately, I haven't heard any emails. I thought that was the darkest humor that I've ever brought to the stage, for sure.
One day,
But that wasn't that dark.
It was
you know?
only one day out of Black History Month. It was March 1st.
And then now we're bringing the slavery jokes. Like, come on, it's just a joke. That's how comedy needs to be again, dark.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
with
but
Scary
back to
Movie
the
5.
office, there's some things that you just can't make jokes about yet.
No.
It's just not time.
Oh,
And what was it? You just now, what was it? You just now being able to make jokes about the Holocaust, or what was it that he said? Michael Scott, he's talking about how there's some jokes you just can't make yet, 'cause, like jokes about 9/11, you can't do that yet, or I don't remember.
yeah, I don't know.
I
You,
think-
you probably shouldn't do it in a sermon, though.
I
I
think
don't
The
know.
Office was ahead of its time, and you can't do that anymore.
No,
You
no.
can't make
All right,
jokes like
Jake's
that
got it.
anymore,
Jake's
period.
got it for us. You can, I believe it.
The Office was just, humor was different. It said things that shouldn't have been said.
I actually don't agree. I think the humor was of its time.
No way, because King of Kings was around that time, and they were not making jokes like that.
You don't think so?
No,
I thought Friends was making jokes like that.
no.
No?
The Office was like, you don't call your friends blank because they're blank. You call them that when they're being that, and they would just go around just saying.
there was also like 30 Rock.
They
from the
had
Sun, Third Rock
blackface.
from the Sun. That's pretty funny though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
That's
The
pretty
Office
funny.
was different. The Office was different. Remember? He's like, who's that? Oh, and his little slave boy, Black Pete. And then Dwight goes and says, no, don't come. And then Moses turning around in blackface
That was for Belschnickel.
That was for Belschnickel.
Yeah, Belschnickel.
Yeah.
That's an actual thing.
I know.
I celebrated it.
What?
Yeah. I celebrated Belschnickel. So, one of our 222 LS mentors, she is from Slovakia, or she went to Slovakia, or has deep ties to Slovakia, and they celebrate Belschnickel there, or at least a version of Belschnickel, which I just kept calling Belschnickel. And there was the whole like furry thing that like the monster thing that she was, and then like the little guy was, I don't really know the full story, but I guess so. I don't know. But it's interesting because that's like the different, it's like Saint Nicholas, but it's like the same iteration of the same character, or different iterations of the same character, which was fun. I get it.
So this is an excellent segue. The Office was disruptive to television at its time.
And so we have queued up 7, in the same way, 7 Disruptive Trends by Carrie Nieuwhof, who wrote this article for churches right now. And so we wanted to watch this video and react to some of these trends.
I've never seen this video.
Yeah, me neither. So this will be a live reaction. Church is trending a particular way.
I think we should just take one trend at a time.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fine. How long is this video?
Is this guy popular?
If you're trying, 32 minutes.
Okay, so we could take one or a few, or however long this takes. So
Let's go.
let's do it.
If you're attracting a particular demographic, say only wealthy people or white people or just males, maybe it's time to audit your ministry and ask why. Welcome to the Carrie Nieuwhof Leadership Podcast. Man, I'm so excited for this episode. This is the annual Church Trends, 2026 Church Trends. I'm going to look at 7 this year, and this is a kickoff to a Church Trends series. We've been doing this every year for a while now. And so coming up, I've got episodes with David Kinnaman, Barna's David Kinnaman, with Luke Lefevre and Daniel McLeod, Ruslan KD, talking about one of the trends. And then even John Mark Comer weighs in on what he thinks the trend is. It's going to be an incredible conversation. So I'm really glad that you've joined us. Whether you're watching, whether you're listening, welcome. This is kind of a Church Trends month, so we have a whole lot coming up. The best thing you can do is to follow, hit follow right now, hit subscribe. You won't miss a thing. This year, I unveil 7 disruptive church trends we're going to look at together and track in 2026, including Gen Z leading a surge in young church attendance, a rise in women exiting the faith, and discipleship by algorithm, which is actually what makes it impossible for you to make anybody happy right now. But before we jump in, I want you to know about something I'm really excited about. We've officially launched the
goodness.
2026
All of this is cut.
Walk in rising commitment to Christ. You live with the constant tension of managing the urgent while trying not to lose sight of the important, right? The danger is, though, if you keep your head down, you miss the big picture, you really don't see what's going on, and your daily efforts can get off target. And that's actually why I write this annual Church Trends report, right? It's to help you and your team look up,
Who is this
see
guy?
what's
Turn it off.
changing, try to figure out why does this matter, and
Okay.
that'll help you lead with clarity in the middle of
Terry
like
Newhoff.
really massive
big?
change
Is he
that's happening in
small?
our
Big.
culture. 2025 was a really
So
interesting year
big.
last year, right? It was the first year we began to see the stirrings and anecdotes associated with revival become statistically meaningful. Things really did begin to change. So we have a few stats, right? Bible sales, maybe you've heard this, they're up 41.5% since 2022. Spiritual app downloads rose 79.5% since 2019. And Christian music streams, they're up 50% since 2019. Now, according to Barna, even the number of Americans who say they have made a personal commitment to Jesus that is still meaningful in their lives is up 12 percentage points between 2022 and 2025. That said, okay, we all need to take a deep breath. Despite all the positive evidence, the talk of revival, the stuff you see on Instagram, there's actually a meta trend hanging over every other church trend I'm going to share today, and that's the ongoing general decline of Christianity in America. So some very fresh data from Barna is showing that at the same time we're seeing some very positive trends I'm going to talk about, Christianity as a whole is less important to Americans than in the past. And more Christians than ever don't actually practice their faith. For example, in 2000, 74% of Christians said their faith was central to their lives. Today, it's 54%. That means that 46% of Christians do not consider their faith to be central to their lives, which is, I think you'd agree, probably an issue, right? Similarly, and this is huge, half of all US adults now qualify as non-practicing Christians. In fact, of those who call themselves Christians, only 24% of Christians actively pursue their faith. That is a huge finding
that mean?
and a big change from 15 years ago when more Christians actually practiced out their faith.
Pause it.
I mean,
I think what he's saying is like, okay, you ask someone, are you a Christian? They say yes. And then you ask them, are you practicing? In other words, does faith enter into your daily life or your weekly life or whatever? What he's saying is only 24% are actually like Christians. The other 75%, 76% call themselves Christian, but it makes no difference in their life whatsoever. They're like cultural Christians.
okay. How do you gauge a practicing Christian?
You ask them if they
You
go to
ask them
church.
if they're practicing.
Is there different levels of practicing? Like to say, yeah, I pray every morning and every night.
Well, I would say,
Like, what-
do you
what do
go
we
to
have-
church? Does faith matter to you? And if they say no, then they identify as Christian by culture, but not by any real measure of anything in their life.
Do you pray? How often do you pray? Never.
Read the Bible? No. You go to church? I don't.
Have you read the Bible? Do you know what the 4 Gospels are? I don't know. Yeah. Do you belong to a church? But are you Christian? Yeah. All right, let's keep it going.
So perhaps this helps explain the crisis in discipleship and partisanship that we're seeing in the church. And all of this confirms what we noted back in 2025, a year ago, that even among Gen Z, where we see all the positive stuff, they are in revival and retreat at the same time. So that said, as you track these 2026 trends, remember that the mission of the church isn't accomplished, right? There is so much left to do, so many more people to reach. And yeah, there's little signs of revival, but the big picture, a lot of work to be done. So with that said, here are 7 disruptive church trends to look for in
Oh, we didn't get to it
2026.
yet.
Trend number 1, Gen Z is leading the surge in church attendance. So the recent rise in church attendance is being fueled by young adults. So there is a rise, right? And Gen Z is at the forefront of it. In fact, last year, they became the most frequent church attenders in America, attending on average 1.9 times a month, which is marginally higher than millennials and meaningfully higher than their Gen X parents or boomer grandparents. And when you drill down a little bit, you see that this isn't just a generational shift. It's a spike in engagement among Gen Z. So this is positive. You know, in 2021, they were barely attending church once a month. Now that's pretty much doubled to twice a month.
I can agree with
and
this.
Millennials have seen a similar surge. And then there's data from the UK, right? It's showing that Gen Z church attendance among ages 18 to 24 has quadrupled over the last 8 years, growing from 4 to 16% today. So at the most charitable level, what does this mean? Well, it means the surge back to church among many young adults might stem from their having explored what the culture has to offer and found it wanting. To borrow from Luke Lefevre, who's going to be on a future episode of this podcast in the Church Trends series, the church has gone from despair to desperation. And what that's done is it's driven a lot of young adults to Jesus. They're not really seeking an echo of the culture, but an alternative to it. And that's what they're finding in Jesus, and that's what they're finding in Christianity. So what do you do about it? Well, as John Tyson points out, you can't really create a revival, right? Even though you see stadiums filled and young adults returning. But what you can do is position yourself spiritually for renewal and revival. Revival fundamentally is God's action. But that said, preparing your church to reach the next generation is something I think every leader can embrace this year. Trend number 2.
All right, pause it.
Young
Okay.
What do you guys think?
I think it's interesting.
I think that if you look at the Gen Z generation, that is the truth. They are more engaged. Like if you even look here, they come and they park out there on Thursday night and they have their church across the street and they're there till like 4 a.m. just having worship. Like crazy. There was Gen Z people out there doing that, and they just they are more engaged and more on fire. Why? I don't know. Maybe
I think what he was saying might be part of the key. Like everything else in culture is failing that generation. So he talked about moving from despair to desperation. Like all the promises of our culture, you call them like false idols of our culture, they all are like proven false and they've all failed. So maybe people they're more desperate.
Here's what I am looking at. To look at a wider timeline, if you look past like 20, even 30 years, just a little bit wider, I can see swings of Gen Z, or like what was Gen Z, what was millennials, and then before that, like I could see swings of reaction towards culture. And so there was a moment where like young, restless, and reformed new Calvinists were rising up, and that was like the church trend of the time, and it was like all these young men are coming back to Christ, blah blah blah, and that was exciting times. But then after that was like a new atheist movement, and this new atheist movement, like all this writing and very like convincing writing kind of landed on people. So at the same time, there was like this backlash. So there was like a polarized reaction to this aspect. Then we continue, and all that kind of fades down until some cultural spikes, emotional spikes just kind of happen. Now you've got these major backlashes or major reactions or major swings. So I don't know. Like I'm not as like excited. Like, oh, look what God is happening. Like, of course, God is doing work for sure. Like, this is something happening, of course. But I'm also saying like, hey, this has been a trend for at least 30 years that I've been looking at it, and I'm sure it's been longer. I mean, if you go back into these hippie days and you keep going back, it's like I'm sure you could track swings of cultural movements between the young people. And the reason why they're excited is because young people get excited. They start to sense, and then they're like, okay, you know, what is it? Then they found like whatever the thing is, and then so they get excited about church and Jesus because that's what they found. But you should have seen these new atheist movements. They were really excited about that.
That's
like
true.
they were just like on fire about new atheism. Like, and so that's just the nature of youth, I believe, is this like energy or electricity from them.
I think there's something else that we should talk about just to mention, which is that before we get into this first of the 7 trends, he prefaced it by saying, hey, well, we can get excited about the fact that, Gen Z is sort of surging in church. The overall trend in America continues to be down.
Right, that's big
So
too.
I think there's, you got to temper your excitement with, wow, we still have things we need to fix. There's still something wrong.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I think that factoid takes into account all people rather than just Gen Z. Gen Z might be lifting the average up a little bit, but overall the average is down because of the boomers or whoever.
And what do you think about this? They're talking about regular church attendance or frequency of church attendance which would be 1.9 times out of a month.
Yeah.
As compared to, like, I saw Gen X was like 1.6 times per month.
1.9 times out of a month seems low.
But, like, if you're a Christian, don't you, I mean, I guess I already know the answer, but don't you go to church each week?
I feel like I see most of our congregations more than 2 times a month.
Yeah.
So that
But we
seems
also have people
very
who
low.
only come 1 or 2 times a month. 1.9.
Well,
6.
it's not that they don't want to come to church, is that they have priorities that they want to go to other places more.
I agree.
So like, oh man, I'm a Christian and I go to church like every Easter or every Christmas.
Yeah, I got you.
Or once every 2 months or whatever. But I'm tired this week. We're on a cruise this week. We're this week.
When I grew up, it wasn't that way. You was going to church no matter what.
Me too.
It actually got so bad that when my mom wasn't at church for like 2 weeks, I was like, where are you? She's like, I was tired. What happened when I was tired?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What happened when
I was tired my whole childhood.
I need you to be at church next week because she was there.
It's just depending on your frame of reference, you'll either be surprised by how low the number is, like, oh, they go 1.9 times a month, that's great, or 1.9 times a month.
1.9 Gen Z. Everyone else was lower. They were the
I
highest.
know, they were the highest.
Well, I also think that church attendance.
Is that a month? Was it a month or a week?
A month.
Wow.
I also think church attendance is based off of like the need to be there. Like people don't feel like they want to be here, or I could miss and no one will notice.
Well, COVID put that weird time where people are fine with just watching it online.
Yeah, and I think we're still battling with some of that. People think that's like, because church is more than just like the content of the sermon, right? And I don't think people think that.
Yeah.
I think people think
Agreed.
I'm going to take in the music and the sermon and make my life better, and they think that's the purpose
For
of church.
sure, what we're trying to do in our pros services is trying to highlight community. And I think that our modern worship method often discounts it. Like people can walk in, walk out, they never talk to anybody. We just started doing this again, which is everyone greets each other. And to me, that was so important because I think there are literally people who go to church and they don't interact with anyone. So for them, it is just they have a content dump and then they move on.
Yeah, and particularly Port St. Lucie gets very lonely.
Yeah.
Because everyone's moved here. No one's
That's
kind of
right.
grown up.
So I
here.
think to emphasize community is right. And I think it's like an overlooked aspect of what it means to be the church. It's when the church gathers, it's not just we all gather, we hear the same thing, we go our separate ways, we don't talk to each other. There should be that kind of interaction.
Yeah, a pastor is not just a preacher, not primarily a preacher, but a community builder.
Yeah.
And I think that's helped us because we're not the primary preacher. There's no like real primary preacher here because we rotate so quickly and so often. That took a lot of time and effort. But now that time should be allotted to not just be a preacher, but more predominantly a community builder, which is more addresses the need more than a good sermon, because they could download a better sermon online from a world-class preacher. Almost any Christian,
You're world class.
I don't know about that. any Christian out here though will be like, yeah, I'll listen to Chandler, Piper, whoever, Tim Keller, Billy Graham, like of all ages, like the best preaching in the world of like the most recent modern history. They can get that there.
Yep.
They cannot get the community.
But the community is so.
So what's the
important.
purpose of church?
Again, I think it's community building, or at least being part of community, and to build that same community. That's the number one need in my estimation. It's the number one need in the culture.
But I would say, in answer to Saran's question, a church is there to help people know Jesus,
Yeah, the context is a community for sure.
make Jesus known, to live a Jesus life. I really think that's the purpose.
Yeah,
The community is the instrument that helps people know Jesus, make Jesus
it's
known,
the vehicle.
live a Jesus
It's
life.
the vehicle. The destination is.
And God was the one who thought of it. Not only did he give his people a message, but then he put them in a community. And like, I think human beings have this immense need to fit in. So like when you're in a group of 10 people and, let's say that you go to a restaurant and 9 people order something, the 10th person, like, it's so difficult to like do something different.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is when you come to church and everybody's like centered on the gospel, it's so difficult for you to be like, but I'm going to keep my life centered somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, the community forms you and
For sure.
helps mold you in ways that information can't.
There's community, pressure, or even community memory, like communal memory. So it helps that communal identity. A lot of that is reflected in how the Jews, operated for so long. I think that's just should be part of the traits of church. I want to ask you a question, though, P.S. What do you think about the purpose of church membership? So no one's really particularly asked me about this, but this is kind of along the same trend. If a Gen Z kid was like be coming here and be like, hey, saw our church membership class, what's the purpose or what's the point of church membership? How would you address them?
Well, what I think with regard to membership, I put it really simply, is that you go through a process where you go from saying that church, then you say this church to my church.
Okay.
So same thing with the gym, that gym. Oh, this gym, I'm in the gym, my gym.
But can I just say this is my gym, my church, without having to be a member?
You might.
Yeah.
I would say
But I
younger
think
people are more
that,
inclined to have multiple gyms. Because even when I was younger, I went to multiple churches and I felt like they were all mine.
That may be.
Okay.
Give 10% to each one.
I was a broke, tiny youth, so that's just life.
10% though.
So it's one of those things. Are you saying where you tithe is where your home is?
Not necessarily, but where your treasure is, that is where your heart it will be also.
Oh, because that would create a big problem because we're on like a tithing schedule.
What does that mean?
So there's like 5 churches or things that I believe in, and we tithe yearly to each one separately. We talked about this.
50% of your income away?
No, I do like Sunlight would be 1 year, then we move on and we do another church the next year. We move on to another church the next year.
Really?
What's your reaction to that?
Yeah.
So
So like
even
Calvary
though-
Open Bible is a church plant, and they're still like working
Okay.
and doing this stuff. And I believe in what they know. I know the philosophy, and I know the pastor. I know the people there. So we're doing Calvary Open Bible. I like High Point. I like what they're doing there. So like my wife is formerly from there, and some of my family go there too. So then like, what was it? 2 years ago, it would be High Point.
So why do you do that? Why do you continue?
Why do I continue to
what's the philosophy? What's your guiding philosophy here?
God wants 10%. We're all trying to build the kingdom. It doesn't need to be tied to just one building. And Sunlight gets my time above and beyond as well from what I'm paid here. And then Sunlight comes back around in like another year, and then my 10% will go there. So that's my thought. Now I feel like I said something wrong. Jake, save me.
I don't know. What
Do you disagree with that?
What do you think about it, Scott?
What do you think about it?
Jake, what do you think about it?
I think it's weird, but quite honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Well, I feel like I don't know why it's weird. I think it's weird. Let me sort my thoughts through it. Because you mentioned that before, but it was in passing, so I didn't really think too much about it. I thought it was like you give to these churches, apart from the tithe. Like, oh, like 1 year we'll give an extra thing to this church, or one thing give an extra thing to this church. That's what I thought. But I didn't even put any thought into this, right? Honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Sort through the thoughts. It's a lot.
I have done something that I didn't think was possible.
What have you done?
Huh?
What have you done?
You guys have no opinion on this, which is interesting. Wow.
We probably have opinions, but we're hesitant to express them.
Why?
Now.
Why?
Because sometimes having an instantaneous reaction to something is not the best. You'd like to think about it first.
Oh.
Yes, this is.
And there's probably something here that we would like to react to, but we don't quite know what to say yet. Why Aaron's like, what do you think? And I'm like, what do you think?
Like Calvary and Open Bible.
How many churches do you tithe to? 5?
There's 5 of them.
So every 5 years you tithe to Sunlight?
Yeah.
You've only been here 5 years.
I'm aware. This actually came up during when we were talking about tithing, and I started. So then I was tithing the Sunlight that year, probably started half year. And then I was like, but I also believe in Calvary Open Bible's vision. And then I want to honor Mary and her family in that way and respect my wife, because she was like, well, Sunlight's really big and High Point is like trying to get their school off the ground and all this other stuff. So I was like, okay. So then I went through this thought process, are we all really here in the kingdom? So then I went on their websites and I was like, okay, let's see what they believe and make sure this aligns with what I believe. And most of these churches I've been to or attended myself, so I know all of them I've been to and attended myself. So then,
Churches you've
not
been
most
to?
of them, all of them I've been to and attended myself. So I was like, okay, I can do this.
I feel like, honestly, Aaron, in reaction to this topic, I would like to break the rule that you just set for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Why?
We're 100%
What's the
going to break that
rule?
rule, yeah.
What's the rule?
That
100%.
this part of the show should move over to
Yeah.
Patreon.
It should 100%. This is 100%.
Honestly,
I agree.
the main show is over.
I can't believe I
the
set this.
Patreon has started.
Yeah, I can't believe I said that rule, because now that rule's got to fly out the window. I 100%.
I'm so sorry.
I'm like,
No, now I feel
this
like
is
I said something
hilarious.
wrong.
I gotta break the rule right after Aaron said it for
It's
me.
got to do it.
Fourth wall.
We got to.
I gotta check
Bust
my
it
phone.
down.
We got to do
Jake
it.
has given me exclusive permission to check my phone.
We got to do it. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
It's been nice knowing you. Bye. Oh no, I'm getting fired. It's over.
All right, since we're on Patreon.
I'm so sorry.
We're on Patreon.
Is that really?
Let's cut
Is
it
that
all the
really
way
a problem?
back from when he started talking about
I'm so sorry.
tithing to 5 different churches that he's mostly been to. In
I think you just start from the
I've been to
membership
Living
thing.
Word Open
What
Bible
what
when I
does
first-
membership mean? Boom, that's the Patreon.
I've been to Living Word Open
Yeah.
Bible when I first came
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
When
okay,
I
you hear
very
that?
first came here, right? Very first came here. That's the church that we went to, Living Word Open Bible. Calvary Open Bible was the church plant, and that's the one that's in Port St. Lucie, the Sunlight Community Church.
All right, let
And
me
then
ask
this
you a
High
question.
Point.
I want to ask you a very serious question.
Yeah.
Would you recommend your method to other church members of Sunlight?
Would I recommend my
That's right.
method to other church members
That's
of
right.
Sunlight?
That's a good question.
So if you would say, hey, everybody, I'm Saran, I'm getting up on stage. I would like to announce that you should give to 5 different churches and only give to Sunlight once every 5 years. Would you
Well,
recommend that to the people of Sunlight?
People probably give to other churches because
No. Would you recommend your method to the people of Sunlight?
my inherent answer is no.
Okay,
But
and I have a
my
follow-up question.
answer
I
my
reclaim my
answer
time.
is
I
a
reclaim my
selfish
time.
no. It's a selfish no because I feel like if I was to say no, then I would be taking away from Sunlight. Like I wouldn't recommend that to other people
Yeah,
because then I would be taking
I
away
have a
from
follow-up
Sunlight.
question now that you've said no. When you submit a budget request to Aaron, would you like his response to be, sorry, people are only giving here once every 5 years now?
I'm so sorry.
Wait, why are you so sorry?
Of the many budget requests you send
Huh?
me.
Well, now I feel like what I'm doing is wrong, but I don't.
No,
feel
I'm
like
not
it's
trying to
wrong.
make you feel wrong. I'm just responding now. You asked, what do you think about it? And I'm just giving my, now that we're on Patreon and I give more candid thoughts. Just for the sake of discussion.
Well, that makes it seem like churches are in competition with each other,
No, I wasn't
which I
saying that.
guess inherently we are.
No, I don't
technically.
think we inherently are.
Okay.
Trust me, as
You
someone
think we're
who's
in a
been
competition?
through competition wars, and if we've seen it, we're not in competition with anyone
Except for Grace Family Church.
except for Grace Family. Yeah, maybe them. Yeah,
We didn't know we were in, but we found out we were in.
seriously.
No, just a way of thinking about it. Like, would you recommend what you're doing to other people? That was my...
I wouldn't deter them from it, but I came to that conclusion just based upon the needs of those other churches and those around me.
So I have a personal philosophy, but I'm not sure I would recommend it to everyone. But it's my personal philosophy.
Okay.
My personal philosophy is that I distinguish between tithes and offerings. And a tithe I take as my first 10%, and that I am bound and determined to give to my local church, wherever that would be. Right now it's Sunlight and has been for 22 years, but wherever that would be, I feel that whatever church I'm a part of, I should give 10%. Then, in addition to tithes, there's offerings. And I endeavor every year to give well above 10%. And so the percentages that go above 10%, I feel that I could give to a variety of causes that are close to my heart. And I'm down the same line as you are. I was like, oh yeah, there's lots of kingdom causes, lots of church causes. And so that's been my personal philosophy. So I don't feel that I have to give all my offerings to Sunlight at all. But I feel that I give all my tithes. And that could just be some kind of weird legalism that I have. I don't know.
I don't hate that.
What's that?
I said I don't hate that.
For me, the reason why I give to Sunlight, it's not just like, yeah, I feel called here and to the people here. But I feel responsible over the money here. I'm the one I'm a voice in how money is spent and how money is dictated and how money is not spent and money is dictated. If anything, I feel some kind of way about people who talk about like money and like how the church spends money or has money or has not money or makes poor decisions or right decisions. If I don't tithe, that's like the height of annoyance and complaining.
Oh,
to me.
so like if people are upset about where money's being spent, but they themselves
They
don't
don't
give a dime.
yeah, they don't give a dime, and yet they are concerned that, oh, we're spending so much. Oh, look at them. They make all these assumptions, but they don't give anything. I'm like, you're a hypocrite. This is ugly. This is an ugly, hypocritical thing for you to say. That's just how my reaction is. Because how dare you? Like I'm not saying you. This is like people like no.
How dare I in my every 5 years?
Well, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. I mean, not for nothing. You have a lot of say in how money is spent here. Mm-hmm. You say money needs to be spent here. Money needs to be spent here. Money needs to be spent here. And you've got a high opinion on things and a trusted opinion on things. We trust you with your opinion. And we go, I mean, I would say 99% of the time I go your direction. And it might not be on your timing, but it is. So, okay. So now you have it. You have the authority. You have the influence and the voice. And yet you don't pour into it. This is what I'm hearing, right? This is what I'm just taking once every 5 years. It's like, and I don't know because I don't look at your tithe record. I have no idea. So it's like, like what? Like that elicits the same thing in me as like someone else would be like, oh, you can't believe you got an LED wall. And
That's funny. I never looked at it that way. I never looked at sunlight as separate. I never looked at it your way. I just looked at it, we're all serving one kingdom and everyone needs help in different ways. So like Calvary Open Bible last year needed help with securing their house and they were doing that campaign. So they did that. They have a building. So that's what I was doing. This year, High Point needs help in securing their building expansion and expanding their school. So I was like, okay.
Well, it's not that we're not on the same team.
But
hold on. It's that I feel like you have a responsibility over your own actions, decisions, and so you need buy-in for that as well. You have the responsibility here locally as a leader, as a voice, and that still does not limit you from helping with those kingdom projects, right? These other High Point or whatever. The only thing that's limiting you is your level of generosity. That's what's limiting you. So it's not like, so this is my personal belief. This is just personally, you could agree with it or not. I feel like you and it, particularly Saran, like if some like random church member were to do this and they didn't have any like say in the level of dictation for the finances, they, whatever, you could rotate your tithe or whatever. I'm not in, but for you, Saran, because of the level of influence and authority that you have found yourself in, I feel like you have a responsibility because of that authority. But if your heart goes to those other places, what's limiting you now is your generosity, your level of generosity.
I'm a stingy man.
Well, no, it's not that. It's,
No.
you are. You're not stingy. But it's like now you have a level of responsibility that crowds out the level of generosity that you could afford. So it's like, this is just kind of how I see it. Like, okay, how you are responsible for this church. I mean, you have a massive level of responsibility. To deny that would be silly. Would be. And over the finances of this church and how the stewardship, I should say, really, the stewardship of this church.
I like Scott's approach. I will talk to my wife and reconvene and tell you guys how that conversation went next week.
Well, it's like you truly have a heart for these other churches, which is great. Me too, actually. There's church plants in the Philippines that I support, the roof projects, these different church plants. There's about 40 because my family's all over there. I've supported medical mission trips and all that stuff above and beyond the tithe here because I still have the responsibility here.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about Scott's thing. He said he tithes here, which is his home church, and then he distinguished between the tithes and offering and anything else offering, and he looks to go above 10%. I think I like that.
That's
that approach.
That's the mentality of like March Missions. Is like, hey, these are funds that are not going here. They're going overseas. They're going other places. We're just organizing as a church to do it over there.
Well, Jake, if today was my final day, just clean out my office nicely. I told both my senior leadership that I don't tithe yet.
Well, you see why it's a little crazy, right?
I agree with you after breaking it down that way, but I now agree with Scott's method, which would be the method that I will employ.
And that has been the method that has guided me. I'm not sure if I would make it a rule for everybody else. I just say that's become the rule of my life.
Well, I think distinguishing the tithe and the offering is, like how you explained it, is smart.
Well, now, let me...
and it helps to accomplish what I was doing while still supporting my local church.
These are more thoughts that I have.
Okay.
So I think, first of all, there's all kinds of reasons to become a tither. Put God first. Join in moving from being a taker to a giver. All kinds of reasons to tithe. But one of them, in my opinion, is that as a community, there's various different efforts and things that are going on. So let's just take like children's ministry. My kids were a part of children's ministry. They benefited from everything that the children's ministry did, whether it was like festivals like Spring Carnival or Fall Festival, or whether it's Vacation Bible School, or whether it's just the weekly Sunday school, or whatever it is. Like my own family benefited from that. So, like, when it comes to giving to a church, it's either that everybody else gave toward that cause and my kids benefited, or I also participated in funding that. And I think it's better for me to not just rely on everybody else to fund that, but to participate in it myself. So it's kind of like, I would say, like, church is a family. And maybe this has to do with membership. Like, I think the opposite of being part of a family is sort of like being an orphan with no family. And I suppose, I don't know, if I just think about, like, as a family, everybody contributes to the well-being of the whole family. Now, I know oftentimes, like, kids don't contribute that much or whatever, but you have them do the chores. You have them do something so that they contribute to the life of the family. And you don't want family members who are like, hey, I'm willing to take all the benefits, but I'm not willing to give any of the resources. But I think, like, as a church family, for me, one of the reasons why I'm just certain about my tithe is going to come to the church that I'm a part of is that I'm benefiting from that church, my family's benefiting from that church, and so I shouldn't just be thinking, well, somebody else is going to fund all that. I can just take the benefits. I also have to provide into the resources of it. And I realize, like, you know, what 10% of my income is, which is an automatic tithe to this church, very minor part of the overall budget of our ministry. But I think, like, everybody who is a member is sort of covenanting together. We're all going to do our part, and it's going to add up to what's needed to really make the ministry flourish. And then I think to myself, now, what if that actually happened? What if all of our church members actually, what kind of ministry would we have here? What kind of things could we do?
Yeah. I think the average is like, average person gives, like, the average is 2% giving.
Is it?
I think so.
Of our members?
No, not of our, just like overall.
Of American Christians?
Yeah, I don't
give
know.
2%.
I don't know. I would have to know their salary, so I don't know.
I would say, I mean, this is, now we're getting a little off topic. Maybe
Yeah.
it's the topic that we're on, but
What
to
does
me,
it say?
one of the most important things that ever happened in my life is I became a tither. It's like one of the most important things that ever happened to me is I became a tither. If I just look back at my life, what were, like, the turning points? What were the most important things? When I started reading scripture, that was a game changer in my life. I would say that discovering public reading of scripture was a game changer in my life. Learning to pray the Psalms has become a game changer in my life, but becoming a tither might have been more important than either public reading of scripture or learning to pray the Psalms, and might be right up there next to hearing God's word for the first time as a life change.
I like the way you put it with the family giving back. That just that puts it into nice, palatable words.
Aaron's the one who got me tithing
And
about 4 years
back
ago.
to this
and I've been
membership
doing it wrong the
conversation.
whole time.
Back to this membership conversation, it's like I'm a family member.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Anyway, I spoke over you.
I said Aaron's the one who really got me into tithing like 4 years ago, and I've been doing it all wrong. Thanks, Aaron.
What are you talking about? What are you talking? Aaron, thanks for helping me become a giving person. You taught me wrong.
I had a great misunderstanding of what it meant to tithe versus offer and where that needs to go.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I see how I came to my conclusion, especially after talking with Mary about it, because you may not remember this like 4 years ago. You'd never remember any of the conversations that happened to change my life. To you, it's like
That's why he keeps this little note thing now. I had a conversation with
It
Aaron.
was like a regular Tuesday, but we were talking about tithes and offering, and
Happens so
I think
much.
Tina was here at the time. Actually, she was, and yeah, and I was saying, yeah, haven't really been doing that, and you're like, you should do that. So then that spurred me to start doing it, and it's funny because that same week when we were talking about it is when I started doing it, and then there was a license plate, and the license plate was tithe. That was the person's license plate. it was like crazy. It was like this whole like weird thing of events. Then we were talking to Mary about it. And then that's when we talked about, well, there's other churches that also need things. And that's when we came up with that decision that this is how we're going to tithe. And that's how we've been doing it since then. So now it's like, okay, I see what you're saying, especially with the role that I have here and all the other stuff and how I've done it wrong. I don't know if you can say that I've tithed wrong.
Well, it's just exactly what it's just how I see it. It's like, you personally have so much authority.
I hear what you're saying.
So
But
is it wrong? Like, I mean, you tell me, you know, like, is that wrong?
I don't think that's wrong, but I see how it could be better. I like Scott's view.
Yeah.
Okay, but now I'm going to say something
We have the
that's
same view, by the way.
controversial.
No, his is more fleshed out.
Now I got to say something controversial.
Oh, what is it?
Okay. Which is, I'm not sure I'm agreeing with what Aaron's saying about one of the reasons you should tithe is because of the responsibility you have here. I think that's true, except I would say that I would put the level of responsibility on the fact that this is your church. And I wouldn't do anything about the fact your staff. That just, like, the responsibility kicked in as a member here.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, the fact that you're a staff is just all the more added on. But, like, actually, it doesn't matter that you're a staff. The responsibility kicked in when you became a part of this church. And a member
I guess
here.
I agree with that.
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay,
I do.
I thought that might be controversial. But
No,
too bad.
no.
Sorry.
I was speaking for Saran because of, like, to Saran's point. I think as a member, this was kind of where I wanted to land with you. It was like, hey, what does membership actually mean? And to me, I thought you would say something like commitment. I knew you'd say family. So, like, for me, it'd be commitment. It's like you dig in. You dig in with this group of people in more ways than just financial, but financial is one of them. You dig in, like, you don't just get to leave when things get tough. Like, you know, you gotta work through those problems.
That's right.
Or, you know, like, so one church, back to church membership, finance being, hey, you dig in financially with these people. I'm throwing my chips in with these people, and I've dedicated my finances, and that's how you know. And this church shopping thing really gets under my skin because it's like, oh, the second I don't have a good relationship with somebody, I'm out and I'm going to leave and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, that's some weak stuff. You didn't really, church membership seems too low. It's like church covenant, like bonding, you know, like.
So I'll say this. I think, like, before you make the commitment to become a member, you should, like, think it through.
Yeah, really understand.
Once you make that commitment and you dig in, now you got to see it through no matter what uncomfortable thing comes your way.
I agree with this.
Oh, are you saying people are taking the church membership lightly?
I think that
if there's something that comes up in church and you're like, I don't know if I like that. I think I'm going to start visiting other churches.
That's a problem because
it's too bad.
Our membership is also tied to the school.
It's consumeristic. It's very fickle. It doesn't teach anything about the faithfulness of God or the commitment level of Christ to his church. You know, it doesn't teach any of that. It's like, it's so consumeristic. If you could just leave on the dime, at the drop of a hat, is like, oh, they don't like this amount.
That might be where we are because, like, for instance, when we were at when I was at Synod, those people were really gung-ho about their membership. Like, the committee that I was in, it was a whole thing about these people not wanting their membership to be lapsed and their membership to still stand at that church.
Okay. Yeah, then they probably have a similar viewpoint of, like, this is my family. This is where I'm committed to.
But I don't know if here or in Florida, outside of the true Bible Belt, if people have that same type of
I don't know.
Viewpoint on church membership.
Particularly in Florida or in Port St. Lucie makes it difficult because people are moving here trying to. There's no deep roots here. There's deep roots up north. There's not deep roots here. People here 5 years, you know.
But the best thing you could do is actually commit to some deep roots.
Agreed. And that will never happen if you keep, at the second something gets difficult, you go to another church. I've seen it over and over. It's
Would you say that Sunlight is now coming into the phase where it will be digging its roots in because we have, like, a whole fresh generation? This would be like this, is this its true first generation? No,
it'll take 20 years. It'll take for our kids to grow up in this stuff and all of it.
This is the way I see it. we have just a handful of people who grew up here since they were babies, now becoming adults.
Yeah.
Marissa, Ethan,
Jake Decker.
Riley.
Yeah.
They need to have
These
children.
people are the ones whose roots are so deep because they grew up here. In a sense, they didn't choose this church. This church chose them.
Yeah.
They've never church shopped in their life. They don't even have the foggiest idea of what that would look like.
Yeah. And for me, I was
This
here.
was their family. People here raised these kids.
I was here at 17. I was here at 17. I'm here. I'm 37 now. That's all. That's the majority of my adult life. That's all of my adult life, actually.
Yeah.
Jake, you've been here since you were a kid. You know, so there's deep roots still, but the level of commitment doesn't have to equal deep roots. Like you could move here and join this church. Like I'll give you an example. Linda, okay, Linda.
Whack?
No. But she's another one. But like Linda, I forget her last name.
Oh,
now,
the
but
nice dressing
she's
one.
like thin and she's got like
Dress
white
is
hair.
very nice.
She is so committed to this. She's only 2 years here. She moved from San Diego. She moved here.
Yeah.
She is so committed to this church. So the level of commitment doesn't need to necessarily equal deep roots. They're two separate things, in my opinion.
But it's an approach to church.
It's yeah.
Is your church your family, or is your church just an event?
Yeah, a content download, an event, yeah, that kind of stuff. But is it a church? Is it a family? And the contention is, yeah, hey, what are we trying to reflect here? Are we trying to reflect God in our best ways? Okay. Commitment and faithfulness is certainly one of that. Giving is certainly one of that, you know. Spurring each other on, that's certainly reflected all in the Bible.
All right, Jake, I've been doing it wrong. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for your wise wisdoms. Aaron, thank you for laying the foundation, and that's it. Just a foundation.
This is such a funny episode because it's like you lay this thing on us that we don't know, like we need an immediate response. We're like,
Like, hold on.
give me a
Aaron
response.
has
This
heard
is-
it before. This is not his first time hearing
Listen, we never talked about this before.
it. Okay, we've never talked about it, but it's not his first time just hearing it.
Saran, you've mentioned it like quickly in passing, and I've never sat. And then I'm like thinking this. My framework is like, oh, he's giving to other churches. That's great, no problem.
But, okay,
I mean, yes, but not the way you're thinking.
I like to challenge where this thing is landing, because I don't think this was I was right, you was wrong moment. I think everyone was right.
Well, I think I had a misunderstanding of what it meant to be a member at a church.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's
fair
not
enough.
like I was right, you were wrong. It's more like, oh, today I saw something new about the nature of being a member of a church that I hadn't previously seen.
Yeah, so like we're all in here together. We're family. We all throw our chips in with the same thing. I'm like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I think this is
But there's
really
other-
cool. I think this is amazing, actually, which is, and it's something that I've experienced now but couldn't have expected. Literally, I believe I have lifelong partnerships and relations with the people who are very closest to me. Like, I don't know, it's just funny to say, but like, Aaron just mentioned it. I've known him since he was 17 years old. We have literally been side by side in friendship and partnership. You know, the other day when I held Soren Stryker for the first time, I'm just imagining that he's going to marry Blair. It's no like incidental relationship. It's like we've thrown in together. And I feel the same way about you too, by the way. Like we have a lifelong, like we're going to be like old men together. I guess I'll be older than you, but you're going to catch up, my friend. But you see what I'm saying? It's like, this isn't just like, oh, I happen to go to a church or I happen to belong to a church. It's like actually part of the core of who I am and will be. I don't have like incidental relationships. I happen to know people. I have like lifelong, all out, I guess I shouldn't even say it that way, like eternal friendships and relationships. Like
I can agree with that.
it's probably maybe I'm being over dramatic, but we're going to be there at each other's funerals, whichever outlasts the others.
I've also thought about that.
We'll be speaking at each other's funerals, whoever outlasts each other.
Yeah, on the other side of it, I feel a deep sadness for people who don't want to commit to a church. And I don't mean financial. I just mean at the basic level.
Oh, yeah.
Like they just, one church, one day they got good worship here, or they got, a good sermon here, yada, yada. But they don't really have, like, there's a deep, really, there's something eternal, I guess, I'll borrow your words, that they're missing. They're missing it. They're missing this blessing, this treasure that God has orchestrated or designed to work out in their life when they don't commit to a church.
And this is the bigger problem of this 1.6 or 1.9 times a month, 1.6 or 1.9 times a month, which is, I think what you said is there's some other commitments that rise higher than this commitment.
Absolutely.
And yeah, too bad, because whatever, which doesn't mean your family might go on a vacation or whatever. Of course they will. But like, if church is incidental and other things are more important, I mean, in the long run, too bad. I mean, that's a giant mistake.
Yeah, I like with a Filipino background, it really taught me about like the importance of family. And it's like you are all out for your family. You love your family, even if they like do something atrocious. You invite them back to the Christmas dinner anyway because you're family. Like it doesn't matter. And so when we equate, like if I take that same mentality and I apply it to the church, and I'm going to use the word family, it's like, okay, like you really dig in. That's my personal context for it. It's like there's higher commitments to just the finances really so low. It's like so easy. You could do that and not have your heart committed and like kind of go out anywhere else and just kind of check the box. But when someone really makes you angry or crosses you in the church when they're not supposed to and they did anyway, and like God is like giving you this opportunity to show forgiveness and love and all that stuff. I mean, it's something that's missing in your life if you don't commit to a church. And it's a big missed treasure for sure.
That's the show.
Do you think that this is on Patreon? We said, but would you want this on the main show?
That's fine. That's up to you guys.
I mean, I don't know. Your finances is your own personal deal, dude. I don't know. So it's like
that's up to you guys.
That's up to you. I mean, that's your stuff. I mean, we don't have to.
How much backlash you think is going to happen if you put it on the main show?
Well, part of me thinks that this is kind of common. I think that your story and your mentality might be kind of common. Like, I
really like Scott's approach. And I'm very glad that was shared with me today.
And that's what I'm saying is like, if you're glad that it was shared with you and I sense a genuine thankfulness from you, or this is good, I would imagine that this would be good for someone else.
This would be an excellent way to advertise our Patreon to people who listen every single week. Imagine the conversations that are just sitting there.
Yeah, just the treasure.
But it also...
We talk about Bitcoin.
The discussion of the church and the membership thing also, and this is just my current reaction without giving it much thought, it actually kind of makes me a little bit upset about our school policy.
What do you mean?
With the membership thing in the school, and then the people go for membership.
Oh, back to Patreon.
Yeah. That's funny.
So now that it actually just made me a little upset.
Well, do you know our school policy? Because it changed a little bit, but it's a very important change.
Right now, you become a member and you get whatever that discount is, and
yes,
you have to be at the church or serve in some capacity.
Correct. So there are two different areas or two different ways to look at church membership with regards to the school. You could either be a church member and get the discount. So people would just kind of flippantly I'm a church member. We've seen them actually just kind of come in after the service, after the sermon, join the membership. And we're like, we've never seen you before in our entire lives.
Well, there's one lady who became a church member, and then we kept reaching out to her because she said she played or was interested, and we kept reaching out to her, Never heard back from her. Never seen her in church again since that membership group.
Yeah.
None of that. And then find out she just really just wanted it for the discount.
That's right. Yeah. So, but when we
But
look
I'm
at,
like, is she still getting this discount? Because I want to be the person to backspace it out the computer myself.
well, the other aspect of it is like, okay, every Christian, if you believe that Jesus saved you, has the right to join other people that believe that Jesus saved them too. Like to call each other, you guys are both saved to the family of the greater family of God. And so like, you should not be kind of ostracized from
But
joining
how
church.
do we determine active membership? Because
Right.
I know that in the CRC, if you don't attend for a certain amount of time, then your membership lapses.
Well, so that's the distinction. So you could be a church member and be here, and people come in with different levels of commitment or understandings of like what it means to be a church member, which is fine. But to get to qualify for a discount in the church seems like a greater level of, I don't hate to say the benefit or perk.
I think it's like 8 weeks, dude. If you don't come for 8 weeks, I think your membership lapses.
Well, that's based on you. Like you think 8 weeks.
So
Some people.
get cancer, they go right to the hospital. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mine is circumstance. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you determine church or active church membership, and that's how you qualify for the discount? That's a question we'll still be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
We land on certain terms, and maybe we don't feel good or feel good. I don't know. Like we all have to come to a consensus.
Who's auditing it? Who's auditing it?
Yeah, like do they serve? Do they tithe? Are they in attendance? Like what are the qualifications? And that's all just our collective wisdom and knowledge and opinion. But what's
I just came up with a new policy. All right. Become a church member and you apply for the 10% discount, you get it. But if it's found out that you don't take up the membership and make it meaningful, plus 10%.
Joke's on you.
they still dip out on a discount though. There's still a discount because if
No,
you
they
take
get the discount, but if it gets reversed, you don't return to the original tuition.
Oh, you get plus
return 110%.
it's higher.
That's funny.
So now I think
funny.
this is the basic idea of the church discount, which I really believe in. And first of all, just set as a basis that there are church members here who are all part of the same family, who have pursued a mission together and have given sacrificially in so many ways so that this school exists. And I think that true, without question, that we have tons of church members who have sacrificed to make this school happen. We've all done it together. And so it makes some kind of sense that there should be some benefit to these church members with regard to the school. Someone who's just coming random from outside, never contributed anything. So that's the reason for the discount, is like to recognize that as church members, there's so many other ways in which we're sacrificing for the good of the school. But then what ends up happening is that as a reward to givers, there's some people who see the opportunity to take.
Yeah.
And they come in and try to, instead of being a giver, which is what we're trying to acknowledge or give a perk to, they decide to straight out be a taker.
They're hyenas, dude. They just vultures.
And it might be that they don't understand what we mean by church membership, or, I mean, maybe they are just hyenas and vultures, but maybe they just don't understand why that's there and what that's a part of. And, if as an example, I mean, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but if you had been part of the Catholic Church before, the Catholic Church, you could be Catholic and never go at all. I mean, you don't ever attend a mass, and yet I'm Catholic. I'm a member of St. Bernadette's, but I've never even been there. That's common. A lot of people are members in that way. But I think from the Bible standpoint, to really belong to a church is this throwing all in thing. So it could be that we're failing to
Educate
people on that, really help them understand what's happening as they become a member.
Would say yes.
We could be, but there are also those hyenas out there that
I agree with that too.
I've seen them.
Yeah. So there's some mixture of those two things.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
maybe there are these perfect policies that could prevent that, but sometimes policies, they just are policies.
Yeah.
And people from their own standpoint figure out how to navigate through these policies to kind of get what they want.
Yeah.
I like that. As I get older, things just always change.
Changed.
You just think you're doing the right thing, and then you're not.
It really bothers you, huh?
Turns out, yeah, it bothers me. Yeah, it bothers me.
Why?
Because I thought I was doing the right thing, but I guess I wasn't. So it bothers me. So I felt like I was doing the right thing by tithing and then rotating around, but it turns out I wasn't. So it's a little disheartening. It actually makes me a little sad.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, like Scott said, it's not really a right or a wrong thing. Like you were right or wrong about it. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to frame it.
It's a little disheartening, but like I said, I like Scott's approach.
It could be,
and I can do that way.
It could be
going
like
forward.
you had a.
Starting on the 15th of March.
It could be that you had a fuzzy picture of what tithing was, and it just gained clarity and focus.
Well, I think I had a fuzzy picture of what membership meant.
Okay.
In the aspect to
Fair enough.
tithing.
Yeah, I think he had figured out, I'm going to tithe. I'm going to be generous.
That's
I'm going to
huge.
give like this.
Yeah.
But then what he was saying is like, oh, I didn't see this aspect.
It's just a focus aspect. You have the right picture. It's just like clarity and like focus. So like, oh, this is what it truly means. I have the picture, like be generous and be committed to church membership. But now it's crisp and clean. It's cleaner.
Boom.
Okay. Well.
Hey, group, there's 7 disruptive trends. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll be at we made it through one today. We'll go through the next one next week. Thanks for watching the Disciple Standard podcast. I'm not sure if this is going to be on Patreon or not, but we'll see it anyway. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
If you